Everyone hates their boss in one way or another, but Martin Kao takes it to a whole new level. In case you are unfamiliar with Kao, he is the former CEO of Navitek. Navitek recently rebranded as Martin Defense Group. It's a defense contractor specializing in ship hulls for the U.S. Navy. Kao was a brutal boss who regularly mistreated employees and demanded insane performance from his team. In addition to being a terrible boss, Kao was a fraud, stealing over $12 million from the Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP. So, how did Martin Kao mistreat his employees and run a giant scam at the same time? Kao isn't some big-name businessman or celebrity. You won't find him on YouTube pushing a flimsy get-rich-quick course or selling one-on-one mentorship. Until recently, he's kept his name out of the headlines as the former CEO of Navitek. But Kao finally saw his face make the front page when he was arrested in October of 2020, PPP fraud. First, you have to understand what Martin Defense Group does to understand the gravity of Kao's crimes. Martin Defense Group is a government contractor, which means the federal government hires them to complete jobs related to public service or the military. Martin Defense Group has been in business since 1979 and has accepted millions and millions of dollars worth of contracts from the U.S. Navy. Essentially, Martin Defense Group helps to make ships for the military and improve the way those ships are made. Kao was a jerk, plain and simple. His employees constantly complained about him, and he even soured relationships with his top-level executives. A search on Glassdoor shows that employees did not like to work for Kao. Among other things, former employees called Kao narcissistic and a dysfunctional leader. They called Martin Defense Group a toxic work culture with shady business practices. According to Martin Defense Group's website and Navitek's LinkedIn profile, the company has 9 locations across the U.S., including 2 locations in Maine. This will come into play later when Martin is eventually caught. We have all come home and ranted about our horrible boss. While we want to go and cuss them out, we don't. We keep it professional. But no one's boss is as bad as Kao. And if they are, it's time for you to quit your job. Among other things, Kao was caught multiple times for saying crazy things to his employees. In one memo to employees about the COVID-19 pandemic, Kao wrote, "I am a man of even fewer words when it comes to your personal fears, feelings, or afflictions with regard to the virus. In fact, I really only have 3 words. I don't care." Kao's words were completely insensitive, to say the least. Many people suffered from mental health issues, depression, and anxiety related to COVID-19. While these weren't side effects of COVID-19, they were justifiable as millions of people around the world were scared of getting the virus. In addition to telling his employees he did not care about their fears, he said some other outlandish things, including that he would enact draconian measures for employees caught being lazy when working from home. If you're unfamiliar with what draconian measures means, Draco is known for being the first recorded legislator in ancient Greece. Draco was a brutal legislator who replaced oral law with written law. That said, Draco's laws came with extremely harsh punishments known as draconian measures. To put Draco in perspective, pretty much any crime under his rule was punishable by death. In addition to his crazy memos, draconian measures, and unfavorable reviews, Kao was utterly nuts. In another message sent to employees, Kao said he was immune to COVID-19 based on his blood type. This myth was busted almost immediately at the start of the pandemic, but that did not stop Kao from telling his employees he had the magic blood cells. Even after the myth was debunked, Kao continued to tell people that he possessed this immune blood. However, Kao found himself in the hottest of waters after executives put out a press release shortly after changing their name from Navitek to Martin Defense Group. They boasted about securing $23 million in new contracts from Maine, Rhode Island, South Carolina, and Michigan. Even though the company was doing fine, Kao still applied for PPP money. In fact, Kao was able to get over $12 million in PPP funds. If you know anything about the PPP, then you know this does not add up. If you do not know about PPP loans, it's important to understand how they work. The maximum PPP loan was set at $10 million. So how did Kao get $2 million extra? Easy. He simply submitted a second fraudulent application with a different bank using a different company. The first PPP was for Navitek, was approved for $10 million and issued by Central Pacific Bank, or CPB. On the application, Kao claimed Navitek had 490 employees and an estimated payroll of $4,072,000 per month. Investigators believe both claims were gross exaggerations. The second PPP was submitted and approved for a total of $2,841,490 $490 issued by Radius Bank. This loan application stated that Kao only had 140 employees with an estimated payroll of $1,136,596. So how did Kao pull this off? First, Kao used Navitek to apply with Central Pacific Bank and was insistent that he get his funds immediately. According to the criminal complaint filed for this case, Kao harassed the team of CPB, stating multiple times that he knew senators who remained unnamed in the court filing and other government officials. These high-ranking members of government wanted his loan application to be fast-tracked. In one email, Kao said, "The senator is suggesting a conference call with their banking committee and SBA staff director. She helped write the PPP rules." Kao was the equivalent of a spoiled child stamping his feet in front of an ice cream truck, demanding that the ice cream man scoop faster because Kao knows dairy farmer. For anyone who has worked in customer service, we all know people like Kao. His goal was to harass the bank to the point where they would release the funds to get him off their back. While he was harassing CPB, he had his eyes on Radius Bank. Kao contacted Radius, claiming that he applied for a PPP from another local bank in Hawaii, but was turned down. Kao had ties to several other companies related to Navitek and could use any one of them to apply for another loan, which he did. Radius backed him for another $2 million PPP loan under the impression that Kao had not already received the original $10 million. Now the burning question, what did he do with the money? Kao's charges included money laundering. That's because Kao used the money from the PPP fund for personal gain. When the first PPP was received, Kao transferred $2 million to his personal Merrill Lynch retirement accounts. A second $2 million transfer was sent to Navitek's wealth management account. Two more transfers for $3 million each were sent to the same wealth management account for Navitek LLC in the same period. Finally, $20,000 was withdrawn from the PPP funds and went directly to Kao's checking account. Now back to the PPP. If you're unfamiliar with the process, it's pretty simple. Businesses that struggled to pay and to keep their employees gainfully employed had the opportunity to apply for a forgivable loan. This loan was 100% forgivable if employers met the following rules. PPP money was to be spent on business expenses. This includes rent, mortgage, utilities, and upkeep. Secondly, the rest of the money was to go to pay your employees and keep them off of unemployment. Finally, the business had to rehire or offer to rehire employees laid off because of COVID. None of the funds that Kao received went to employees. The majority of the amount was kept in bank accounts held by the business or by Kao personally. In addition, Kao paid himself a cushy $20,000 for his hard fraudulent work. Kao was arrested on 2 counts of bank fraud, 5 counts of money laundering. Currently, he's being held on $2 million bail. The prosecutors requested that he remain in custody because he still had access to all of these stolen funds, and his citizenship is from Taiwan. There is no formal extradition treaty with Taiwan, so he could likely get away if he fled there. To make matters more complicated, Kao has already lied multiple times to the court. Kao owns multiple million-dollar properties in San Francisco, Tokyo, and Taiwan. In addition, he lied to the court about the value of his Taiwan property, which he claimed was worthless. According to bank records, property is valued at over $16 million. With all of these lies, the judge decided to set his bail at $2 million, provided he wears GPS tracking and turns his passport into authorities to prevent him from leaving the country. In the middle of Kao's PPP investigation, he's also being looked at for illegal campaign contributions to Maine Senator Susan Collins. U.S. election law limits the ability of government contractors to contribute to political campaigns. Government contractors donating to political campaigns would be a clear breach of trust for the public, as it is basically bribery. This is what investigators believed happened between Kao and Collins. Kao could not directly donate money to Collins, so instead he set up a new foundation and used friends to proxy donations to Collins' campaign. A search warrant shows that Kao had reimbursed personal friends $45,000 that they used to donate to Collins. In addition, Kao set up a new company called the Society of Young Women Scientists and Engineers. This new company was created solely for the purpose of donating $150,000 to a super PAC that supported Collins' campaign. This is fraud, no questions asked. So maybe Kao likes Susan Collins? What's wrong with that? The issue arose when Collins played a significant hand in securing an $8 million contract for Navitek. Once Kao secured the contract, the illegal campaign money was, quote, donated to Collins. While no charges regarding the campaign contributions have been filed, we'll chalk this up to where there's smoke, there's fire. Kao is set to stand trial in July and has submitted a not guilty plea with the court. Federal sentencing guidelines state that bank fraud can carry a punishment of 30 years in prison with a $1 million fine. Money laundering can carry a maximum of a 20-year sentence per count. In addition, financial crimes such as bank fraud and money laundering can bar an individual from holding an executive position or being a registered agent for a business entity. On another note, the company which Kao ran changed its name in October 2020. Navitek, now known as the Martin Defense Group, has many of the same executives. Coincidentally, Kao was arrested in October 2020. Did the team who took over know the arrest was coming? Did they change the name to distance themselves from Kao? Click here to watch one of these next videos.